Hi guys, I'm Peggy up from the Witch's Garden, trying to go a cut flower garden here on my allotment in Kanagawa Prefecture, Japan. Thanks for checking out my channel. So as you can see this week we've got a lot of growth in the garden. Check this out. My cosmos is about waist high, my amaranth is coming up, and we're starting to get flowers. My sunflower are definitely up over my head, and I've actually already cut my first flowers from these guys. So let's have a look around in more detail and I'll show you what's going on. Okay, so the stars this week are definitely my sunflower, which are well up over my head height. I'm short, so it doesn't take that much to get over my head height, but still, they're really big. And I've already started cutting some flowers from them. I came down a couple of days ago and noticed that some of them were perfect for cutting. So I took some and I have them at home, which I'll show you in my little vase at home. So the first one I cut was from this plant. As you can see, it's still putting out lots and lots. This was my first cut. And this is a plum. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it's not as plum as I thought it would be. It looks more like one of the copper queens. And the flowers are smaller than I thought they would be, and I didn't have great stem length on the first one that I cut, and the stem was really thick, as you can see here. Now, supposedly pinching them out is supposed to help with that, but I can see that the one's coming up now. So here's one that's coming. This is still supposed to be plum, but again, it's looking very yellow. But it has a much better stem length and stem width on it. So I can cut that one right down to there. So it's got a pretty decent stem length. Here's the other one coming. And again, yeah, it's a much better stem length on that one and stem width. So hopefully it was just the first few that came up were quite small. But you can see they're all getting ready to open up. Now I know that when we see sunflower for sale, they're generally properly full and open, but you want to cut them well before that. You want to cut it just a little bit after this. So once a few more of these petals open up, which it'll probably do by the end of today, you want to cut your sunflower. It's called the kiss when it looks like just the mouth starting to open a little bit like this. Then you want to cut it, and the main reason you want to do that is because you want to get it before the bees do, before it gets any form of pollination, because then the bloom will die off quicker. So for the best vase life, you want to cut it just as you're seeing that kiss. So next you can see here, this is one of my Valentine sunflowers, which seem to be considerably shorter than all the other ones, but these are also starting to put out buds, and these are the beautiful kind of buttercream ones, so I'm really looking forward to getting some of them. Again, you can see, like, here's one flower, and then there's another one coming here and another one coming here, so from one stem you actually get quite a lot of sunflower. Now if I cut it, I just put my hand through a spider web, sorry Mr. Spider. If you cut it when this one's just going to kiss, then these two will open up in the vase as well, so that's good. But again, the stem length on them is going right down to where I initially pinched it. So yeah, that's a nice long stem on that one, and these are much more workable stem thicknesses as well, which is great news. And then we've got these giants. Look at these guys. So these really tall ones are my copper queen, and they are, I would say, almost 6 foot now, and just starting. Oh, can you see that? Where am I? Just starting to get their flower heads on. And the difficulty I'm going to have with these is that they're so tall. I'm not sure if I can reach them to cut, or actually see when the flowers are going to be ready to cut. I need to bring a tall person with me. but these aren't quite as far along as the others. Very tall, but still very closed buds. No, not ready. But I think they will be by the end of the week. Hey there, you can open up? Maybe? And then I've got these ones. These are more of my plum. And these seem to be putting out the most buds per stem. I've got masses of these coming. So that's actually the same stem. I've got one big one and then a smaller one coming underneath. And that's got an okay stem length on it. It's good enough for a vase. So that's good, but I've got masses of these coming. But again, not quite there yet. Almost, but not quite. So the other flower that we've got coming already is my zinnia. Now these are zinnia peaches and cream. And these are coming on nicely. Sorry, my own shadow there. These are looking really nice. And they're starting to bloom quite a lot. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit disappointed in them. I thought they were gonna have a double layer of petals here, and I also thought they would be a lot bigger. So I'm hoping that this is just because these are the first ones that have come, and that the second lot will be a bit gankier. Saying that, they do have a great stem length on them. So this one I'll cut all the way down here, I think. And that gives me a really nice long straight stem. But I'm hoping that if I cut these first few, then the next ones that come on will just be a bit prettier. They're a bit washed out looking. But these are cut and come again flowers, so the more I cut them, the more flowers I'm gonna get. The other flower we've got just about to come is my calendula, and I'm really excited to see these ones. Again, these are not as big as I expected them to be. Maybe that's just because I wasn't entirely sure how big they should be. But if I look at the stem, I mean, I'm gonna get an alright stem length on it. And this is putting out little buds. Now, these ones never grew as high as I expected them, so I haven't pinched these, which I might regret doing. I might go ahead and pinch some of the ones that aren't budding yet and just see what the difference is. Because I've got flowers coming on 1, 2, 3, but not on those ones over there. So I might pinch those and just use it as an experiment to see how many extra flowers I get off the pinched ones. So this is my Nigella alba, and I'm not entirely sure what's going on. It's just got little to no height on it. The flowers have come and died very, very quickly. So, I mean, I might be able to get some decent looking seed pods on these, because these make nice kind of stripy seed pods that I can use in dried flowers later in the year, but I'm a bit disappointed with how that's done. The one behind it also is my Nigella Miss Jekyll. And it's starting to put on a bit more height than the others, but not really. I think maybe I need to thin that one out a bit. It's maybe got a bit too much competition. So I'm going to thin that out today and see if that helps it at all. The next one I've got is this nice tall one, which is my verbena. And it's putting out nice kind of wispy flowers. The only problem is these look nice as wispy flowers in a big bunch of flowers, and I don't have enough of the other flowers to make a big bunch yet. So I'm going to keep cutting this so that it keeps coming. But I feel like this might have come a bit too early and isn't actually going to be of much use to me, which is a little sad. These are my dahlia. I'm starting to get a bit frustrated because my Instagram feed is full of people's dahlia in full bloom. Big, tall, beautiful flowers, so they've started cutting it already, and mine, while it's getting some height on it, we're nowhere near bloom size yet. Weirdly, the ongoing saga of the tuber. So this one was doing really well last week, and this week has completely disappeared, and that one had completely disappeared last week and now has come up and got quite bushy again. So I'm not sure what's going on there. These are my other ones at the back, which 1, 2, 3 are from tuber, and I just pinched those out yesterday because they'd started to get a bit more height on them. And then the 3 at the back are the ones that I grew from seed, which again are putting on height, just very slowly. So, I mean, dahlia will keep going until the first frost, and we don't really get frost here until December. So I'm hoping that I will get some flowers off them. It's just going to be much, much, much later on into the season. Behind that, I have my verbascum, and again, I wanted this to kind of be the spike flower in any displays that I made. And again, it's leafing out and it's growing, but we're nowhere near any flower spikes yet. So yeah, I'm kind of watching all these other reels come in of people harvesting their beautiful flowers, and I've still just got what looks a lot like lettuce. Come on, flowers. Come on. Another thing that is just leafing out but not really doing much flower-wise is my poppies, and I just don't really know if I'm going to get anything from these at all. I mean, they are continuing to grow, but just not very much. Okay, another kind of success, I guess, that's happening is these are the dahlia seeds that I just threw down in the space where I wanted to put my delphinium, which didn't germinate at all. And these have started to come up and get quite a lot of growth on them too. So we might have some incredibly late dahlia in the season. But like I say, our frost is late, so hopefully they'll have enough time to get some flowers. And if not, then maybe I'll be able to use them for tuber next year, which is great. Here we have my 2 ergoneum that have managed to survive, but they don't seem to be doing much either, and I'm not sure how much I'm actually going to get off of 2 plants. Next to that I have my, this was my ergoneum blue hobbit, yeah, blue hobbit, which there's nothing there at all, it's completely disappeared. This was my scabious field, in which I've only got 2 left to come through, and then finally my echinacea, of which I have 1. So this plot is looking very sad and very bare and not really doing anything. And right behind that kind of sad looking layer I have my Chinese aster, which are the beautiful apple blossom aster that I'm really excited about. They're the ones that I think I like the best in the garden, and they're just growing really, really slowly. I'm not sure if this is normal. Please let me know if you've grown Chinese aster successfully, if they are just really slow growing. These did really well at home when I was germinating them. They were one of the first to come up and they grew really well, but then when I put them in the ground they've just really slowed down. So I'm trying to be as patient as I can to see if I'm actually going to get any flowers off of them. And then behind that I've got my gonfermia, those wee pink balls things, and again that's just something to kind of fill out the rest of the arrangements that I make and add some kind of fun, airy feature. But if they're the only thing that comes and I don't have any flowers to add, it's going to be just an arrangement of odd little tiny flowers floating about. And then behind that you can see my 3 bunny tails that I put in. I thought they were a grass, I thought they would survive really well, that they would grow quite fast, and they're not, they're going really, really slow as well. After that I've got my ponytails. Of the 6 that I planted, I've only got 2 left, although I see there is still a tiny blade coming up there. I'm not sure if you can see that. That one had completely disappeared, but it seems to be regrowing itself. Now I don't know if this is something that might come in stronger next year, although it was supposed to be a first year flower, so yeah, that's not really doing much. And then I've just got my patch of desolation here, which was supposed to be all of my Achillea and Daucus dara. I think I have 1 Daucus coming through there, and the rest, these are just, I think, actually weeds that I've let grow because I wasn't sure if they were weeds or not. And this is a tomato plant. My tomato plant seems to be doing alright, looks like it's maybe been knocked down a little though. So yeah, I'm quite upset that that's a huge chunk of the plot that just hasn't done anything at all. But almost as if to compensate, the other side of this is looking great. So this is all my amaranth, and it's huge. It's maybe about waist high now on me. Still no signs of anything coming, but I'm okay with that because it means maybe when my dahlia come up it'll give me something to put in a vase with them. So I'm really excited to see these. The fact that they had got eaten a bit earlier on in the season doesn't seem to be affecting them at all. You can see they've still got a little bit of bug munching happening, but it doesn't seem to be affecting their growth at all, so that's good. I mean, this guy, he's huge, chest high already, and this is the Love Lies Bleeding, which I'm really excited about. So if these guys come on in time for me to put them in a vase with anything, that's great, but if not, I'm planning to dry this anyway, so if this is a late season, then that's great. And then behind that I've got some Ami coming. Now again, I thought this would be much bigger. I don't know if it's just because I put everything in so late and the heat's come on so quickly, it's just not going to have time to put much height on it, and it's just going to go straight to flower. I'm not entirely sure. But you can see here I'm starting to get some Ami coming. So again, a few fillers, which would be nice. This is supposed to be Persian cornflower, which was a perennial, so I wasn't expecting this to come up this year, and I'm not entirely sure if that is what that is or if it's weeds, but I'm going to leave it there because it's right on the edge and it's not really affecting anything else. So hopefully some Ami coming. And then next to my Ami, I have my cosmos, which again is getting about waist high, which is great. And some of it is starting to get buds on as well. So hopefully I'll get some flowers from that pretty soon too. So that's pretty much it from the garden this week. I'm hiding in the shade because we are at 32 degrees with a real feel of 35 degrees, and it's been like this all week. That's the reason I'm not actually cutting any of these flowers with you right now, because it's best to cut your flowers either really early in the morning or in the evening, and I've been coming down in the evening to water. So when I come down to give them the water, I also will cut any that are ready to take home. Then I take them home, put them in ambulance. We are urban gardening here. So I take them home, put them in nice clean fresh water, and then put them somewhere dark and cool overnight. Your flowers do like to rest before you put them in an arrangement, which is something I didn't know before I started growing my own flowers, is that they do like to have a rest and recover a little from being chopped. I'm going to do a little bit of weeding here, although to be honest there's not much. Apparently the weeds don't like this heat. Like I say, we've been very hot all week. It's now Sunday, we're due a little bit of rain on Wednesday, but really not very much. So I am coming down every day to give the garden some water in the evening, cut any flowers that are here to take home. Although, to be honest, there's not much yet, so it is just my little single stem vases that I'm able to fill right now. It's nice to see the garden putting on some growth. I am worried that they're all going to come at different times and I'm just going to end up with vases full of the same flower. But it's a learning experience. I knew that I was late starting, which meant that I couldn't really stagger things. Things that take longer to grow were going in at the same time as things that are very quick to grow. So it's all just a learning experience and figuring out, and hopefully being able to do it better next year when I will be able to start at the right time. But I'd say, what, maybe 70–75% of the garden has actually grown. I've got my very sad looking poppies, my delphinium that did nothing, all of my filler basically that did nothing. So I think it's just learning about my growing environment and changing up what I'm going to grow next year. Now this is a learning experience, and I did put in my seed order for next year, and I've got very little of the same things going in. I want to try different things and see what works best here. But I will, I think, be putting my sunflower back in. I'm hoping that, again, these are cut and come again. Now that the flowers are blooming, I will be down every day cutting. When you're doing flowers in your garden, it's nice just to leave them and look at them, but for this, the more I cut, the more I'll get. With my cosmos, with my zinnia, with my calendula, and with my sunflower, I really want to be getting them before the bees and the other pollinators do, because as soon as they get pollinated, it tells the plant to stop producing flower and start producing seeds. So you really have to be quite on top of it once the flowers start to come. Now that's the same with your dahlia. Once I actually have any dahlia, you want to really keep on top of that to get as many flowers as you can for as long a time as you can over the season. So now that I've actually got some stuff coming, I will be coming down every evening, obviously to water anyway, but also to have a look around and just keep on top of the cutting. Even if you don't use the flowers, you want to be deadheading them just to make sure that new ones come up so that you can use them in a couple of weeks' time or whenever, when the new flower come up. So yeah, that's it for this week. Thanks for checking in. I'll show you any flowers that I do get to cut, and I will be putting that on my Instagram as well. So if you want to check out what I'm actually doing with the flowers that I'm cutting, then you can check out my Instagram account, which is From the Witch's Garden as well. So yeah, thanks for checking out my channel, and if you liked it and want to follow along and see when everything comes up and if I can actually make any arrangements with them, then remember to hit the subscribe button. Bye! Other people's allotment update. The guy next to me now has 2 watermelon, which he has tied up in red net to stop them falling off the vine. 1, 2. I'm very excited for them. I want to see how big they're going to get.